Yeah, welcome everyone on Skilling on Saturdays. We have with us our guest speaker Vikas Gupta ji. Vikas ji, can you come on camera? Yeah, you are on
Because you're
mute,
mute.
sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing great.
So Vikas ji is founder, MD, and CEO of the Virtual Group and Sampoorn EV, also the founder of eAsh Automotive. He has been instrumental in launching and steering the company in a relatively unexplored but high potential growth sector of electromobility, which was underprivileged, is now emerging as one of the significant contributors to sustainable development and getting momentum. He is a qualified CA, CS, and CMA with more than 2.5 decades of experience, supervises operations and finance in the organization. Before setting up the virtual group, eAsh and Sampoorn EV, Mr. Gupta was instrumental in establishing more startup organizations, departments, and succeeded seamlessly. He has also played a vital role in implementing crucial processes, practices, and policies at various places. Prior to his entrepreneurial journey, Mr. Gupta has worked with large corporates at various senior positions, companies including Luminous Electronics, NTT Data, CSC India, HCL Technologies, Tata Advanced Systems. He has won several accolades and has been recognized as top 10 leaders in automotive industry in 2021, Delhi Ratna Award, India's Greatest Leaders 2021, and Best CEO in e-automobile segment, as well as Gems of India. With this brief intro, I welcome you, sir, on Skilling on Saturdays, and would definitely love to hear your journey and the stages of entrepreneurship as well as stages of fundraising, which
Thank
is
you,
the topic
Shivani
for
ji,
today.
and thank you all for giving me this opportunity to come before you and try to present the topic of today. So this topic is such a vast and large topic that one can't cover it in say 45 minutes or 50 minutes kind of time frame. I have tried to capture whatever I think one need to know as a beginner in this particular topic. So there might be other things which people might be interested in knowing, which we will be trying to cover it in the Q&R session. So let's start with the pointers I wish to cover in this presentation. So I will be covering what is entrepreneurship. Most of you people are aware of it. I'm trying to express my viewpoint here. Who is entrepreneur? Again, most of you are aware of all those things. Categories of entrepreneurs. This could be a little new thing for few of you. Most of you might be aware of it. Case studies of each of the categories of entrepreneur. This is all these case studies at point number 4 and point number 6 we would be covering jointly. Then stages of entrepreneurs, fundraising, which includes debt, and then fundraising, which includes equity, starting from angel fund to IPO, is what I intend to cover in this session. So let's start with entrepreneurship. So it's a process of identifying a market need. Unless and until there is a need identified of it, there is no way an entrepreneur can start. And then once the market need is established, developing an innovative solution for that need and starting a business with assuming financial risk to achieve profit and growth. I have highlighted risk, not the complete word of financial risk, because there are multiple risks which get which get assumed while you are starting a venture. Financial risk is just one of them. A bigger risk is the risk of reputation. Once you start one venture and when you are starting another venture, a reputation risk is a bigger risk which get at stake. So that's the reason why I highlighted only the risk portion, not the financial risk complete portion. To achieve
So have
profit
you
and
shared
growth,
your PPT? It's not visible on the screen.
uh, was I supposed to share it?
You said you are going to share.
Yeah.
So the entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, is the process of identifying a market need. Unless and until there is a need, one can't set up any venture for it. Once the need is identified, the entrepreneur develop the innovative solution for the same, and then start the business while assuming financial risk, although only financial risk is mentioned here. But as I mentioned, the risks are many, multiple. And one of the greatest risk which is not mentioned here is the reputation risk, which at every stage it is the most vulnerable stake to achieve the profit and growth. Since it is a business, it is an entrepreneurship. Achieving profit and growth is the only objective what for a profitable organization or a commercial organization is set up. So it drives economic progress through innovation, creating jobs, enhancing value. These are the outcomes once the entrepreneurship is set up, ranging from a small local business to high growth scalable startup. Now the word scalable is again highlighted. So in my experience, so I have set up two type of ventures so far. One is called the virtual group, wherein we provide lots of accounting, compliance, outsourcing services, and the other is the Sampoorna EV. Now, why I switched from a service segment to a manufacturing segment is primarily because of the reason of this scalability. So anything which is dependent on your individual skill is very difficult to scale at a large level. Now, in case you wish to scale something at a large level, you need to come out of your individual skills, and you should be in a position to create multiple of such people, which is very difficult in the current scenario. And hence, in case you wish to start something and want to give it a high growth scalable project, then it must have that ability wherein you can replicate lots of people or lots of processes of your same profile, of your same skill, so that it can be scaled. Now, in this chart which is appearing, are you people able to see the chart?
Yes.
So this is something which I picked from Google. So it is taking the example of US people primarily, which includes Jeff Bezos.
Sir, I think we are on what is entrepreneur slide only.
Yeah. We are there only. So I am talking about this chart. This
But
chart
chart,
which I have stated.
Yeah.
So the famous entrepreneurs mentioned here are primarily US-based entrepreneurs, which include Jeff Bezos. You people are aware it is Amazon, Orphe, and then Mark Zuckerberg. In my further slide, I have taken the example of only Indian entrepreneurs, not the overseas entrepreneurs. But this is the chart which I picked from the internet, and hence it is catering the people from the overseas market. Now, what is entrepreneurship is explained here. You will have to first start with the planning, keep doing, keep again and again doing, unless and until you keep on rising the ladder. And then why it is important is to build something, keep profit, and call the shots. Now, the steps include the ideas. Ideas could be things which were existed, but you can't find them, need of people around you, improve existing product or services, better access to info or product are few of the ideas which we have seen people in India have created a large organization based on these things. In my further slide, I have catered those few entrepreneurs who have used these ideas in able to create the large startup organizations. Now let's see who is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who starts or owns a business, whether it is farming, retail, manufacturing, or in the service sector. Are the business people who find their success by taking risk. Now here it is only the risk, not just the financial risk. In their pursuit, they often become the disruptors in the established industries. Now let us see what is disruptor. Disruptor is someone who basically change the way things have been doing so far. So we have seen, say, Ola cabs. Earlier we used to struggle in order to get a taxi. Now this gentleman started Ola cabs, although it is an intimated thing of Uber, but then in India it was a new thing. And it disrupted the entire market of cab, using cab for your day-to-day need, whereas it used to be used only for occasional purposes, but now it has been disrupted in order to use it on a daily basis. So, and an entrepreneur uses innovation, business, knowledge, team management, his leadership skill, and the risk tolerance is one of the important factor which he uses by using the skill of assertiveness, and hence it becomes an entrepreneur. Now these are the some of the categories which are defined worldwide for an entrepreneur. So there are 4 types of entrepreneurs which are assumed in the market. First one is innovating, the other is imitative, the third one is Fabian, and the fourth one is drone entrepreneurs. We will be discussing further about these type of entrepreneurs in our further slides. Now let us see who is an innovative entrepreneur. And innovative entrepreneurs are the visionary leaders who create new products, services, or processes to disrupt the market. Again and again, this word disruption is being used because that's the very basic of an entrepreneurship. If you are not disrupting, you cannot be an entrepreneur, you cannot scale it, you cannot make it a large organization. In order to generate profit and solve some of the complex problems, they challenge the status quo, embrace uncertainty, and drive economic growth by moving beyond traditional business method to introduce high-value innovation. These are the innovating entrepreneurs who uses all these skills in order to create a large and high-value, high-impact organization. What are those skills which are inbound in the innovating entrepreneurs? It includes visionary thinking. Unless and until they are able to vision for say 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years kind of thing, they are not innovating entrepreneurs. And they are able to identify the opportunities, and then based on those opportunities, they create a new market. Resilience and risk-taking, willingness to challenge the existing system and face uncertainty. In the initial stage, they face a lot of uncertainty. They face a lots of mockery of their adapting new ways, but then with their resilience and risk-taking ability, they are able to succeed in the market. Continuous learning, they keep making mistakes, making mistake is not a problem. But with every mistake, if you are learning, if you are improving, you are an innovating entrepreneur. Drive by a passion to improve product and innovate constantly. Innovation is a very constant process. You can't innovate once and then you think that with that once innovation you can keep surviving for years. It is not possible. You will have to keep innovating. You will have to keep facing lots of problems, and you will have to find a solution for that problem. And it happens sometimes that what you have thought at the initial stage may not be the right vision, and vision may get distracted from what you have thought initially. But then you will have to keep innovating the ways, you will have to keep taking the risk, you will have to keep improvising your processes and system in order to get the kind of result that you were expecting. And then strategic planning is again very important trait of innovating entrepreneur, which gives them the ability to turn creative ideas into logical, workable business models. Now, this is very important. If you have a great idea, but if you do not have patience in order to convert it into a logical, workable and business model, then you will never be an entrepreneur. You could be a great idea giver to others to set up a entrepreneurship on the basis of your idea. So having an idea and then ability to turn that idea into a workable business model is one of the important traits of an innovating entrepreneur. Now, what is an imitative entrepreneur? Imitative entrepreneurs are also known as copycat entrepreneurs. I will come to those in my case study as to what is a copycat entrepreneur. But you can't say that these are not great entrepreneurs. They have their own abilities. They execute the things better than what they have copied to, and then they bring lot of innovative processes and systems in between to make it a great idea converting into a great business. So they replicate successful business models, technologies, or products pioneered by others. So they have not pioneered, as opposed to innovating entrepreneur. The imitative entrepreneurs do not pioneer, do not invent, or do not innovate any of those great ideas, but they copycat, they implement it so well that it becomes a big success, even the larger success than the one who has pioneered the technologies or the product. Often adapting them for new markets. So if there is an idea which is going well in US, it doesn't mean that it will definitely go well in India. The market and the conditions are vast different at both the two geographies. But then if you are able to adapt some of the processes which make it workable in India, then you are an imitative entrepreneur, and you can make it a larger success. So the example of Ola Cab is one of such example. Although it copied it from Uber, but then it became a very large success in India, and it became a success, better success than the Uber in India. So adapting them in new market, local conditions, or increased efficiency is what these kind of entrepreneurs bring into the system. They focus on lower risk, proven concept rather than radical innovation. So the innovating entrepreneur goes for a radical innovation because they have some idea which is very new to the market, which is very new to the geography. Whereas these imitative entrepreneurs copy the idea which is already a successful idea, and then they basically make it even a larger success in either a new either in a new geography or in a new market. playing a key role in adopting technology and broadening the market access. So primarily in the technology also, they make certain changes by which it becomes a larger success, or they broaden the market access than the one who has innovated those ideas. Now, the traits of an imitative entrepreneur includes the risk mitigation. By adopting established product or strategies, they face lower level of uncertainty compared to innovators, because it has already been successful either in a different geography or in some slightly different technologies. So the risk is slightly lower in those cases. Their focus is primarily on the operation, because the idea is already time tested, it is already successful. Now, if you focus on the operational part of it, you can make it a larger success. That's why their focus is primarily on the operational. They frequently enhance the cost effectiveness and efficiency of existing ideas rather than inventing new ones. So they don't spend their time on inventing some new ideas. They focus on the operationalizing of the same, or on the introducing of new processes, new systems, new technology, enhanced technology, in order to make it a larger success. Common application often used in franchising or in developing countries that re-engineer products from advanced nations. So lots of underdeveloped countries wherein they are not able to invent those kind of technologies because of funds issues, because of infrastructure issue. So in those kind of geographies, it is easy, it is better to go for an imitative entrepreneurship rather than an innovating entrepreneurship. Role in the market, they help normalize and scale products, contributing to market stability rather than disruption. So they don't go for disruption the entire market. They rather establish it, make it a large operation, and make it stable rather than making the market disrupt altogether. Now let us see who are the Fabian entrepreneur. They are a cautious, risk-averse business owners who shies away from innovation, preferring to stick to traditional time testing methods. So although the basic skill for any entrepreneur is to take the risk, we have read it in the initial slides, but these kind of entrepreneurs are the one who basically are cautious and risk-averse. They shies away from innovation, and then they stick to the traditional time testing methods. They adopt new technologies only when necessary for survival, often running family-owned business with a slow and steady approach, prioritizing stability over rapid expansion. So their primary priority is stabilizing something, they wish to continue as an ongoing steady state process rather than innovating and disrupting the entire market or rapid expansion. Now let us see what are those skills which are required in a Fabian entrepreneur. So they high risk aversion people, skeptical of changes and fear potential losses from new method. So they fear taking any kind of risk. They don't adopt any new methods. They adopt new method only when it is a survival threat to them. Otherwise, they don't adopt a new method, and they stick themselves to the traditional methods. Conventional or old-fashioned practices, they are very slow in adoption of anything new, rarely take initiatives, and are slow to adopt changes. Their focus is primarily on their family-owned business, second generation owners, or maybe third or fourth generation owners managing family business, focusing on its steady growth rather than innovating something new. And their approach is very cautious. They invest in innovation only when their survival is threatened. Otherwise, they don't invest in any of the innovation. They are happy doing the traditional business with the traditional method without taking any kind of risk. Now let us see who are the drone entrepreneurs. So drone entrepreneur is an individual who depends on the efforts of all others. What is a drone? Drone is a unmanned machine which is controlled by somebody who is sitting too far from that machine. So the person who is controlling the drone is sitting too far, using the remote in order to control the entire machinery. So from that terminology, the drone entrepreneur is invented. They reject chances that come into a way to replicate or take advantage of them. So they are completely averse of the idea of either taking the risk or inventing something new. Even if there is something new which is coming in their way, they are very reluctant in adopting that idea. Rather, they reject that idea or reject that chance. They never feel uncomfortable using their outdated manufacturing method, despite the fact that both the surroundings and the community have experienced significant changes, while also being even willing to accept the likelihood of losing their company. Even if their company is at the risk of losing from the market, they don't want to adopt the new method. They don't want to adopt the new technologies, new processes. Now let us see what are the traits of the drone entrepreneurs. They are underperformers. They stick to their existing norms and oppose changes, prefer not to modify their methods, even if that means losing customers. Refuse to evolve. They don't evolve at all. These they rather mimic the inventions created by innovative entrepreneurs in wealthy nations rather than creating their own inventions or creating their own new technologies or processes. More common in underdeveloped countries because of the lack of trained workers and absence of suitable facilities. It makes them less beneficial for the entrepreneur to imitate. So the imitative avians and drones are frequently observed in the emerging countries rather than the developed countries, wherein the innovating entrepreneurs are found more frequently as compared to the underdeveloped countries. Let us see some of the notable entrepreneurs which I have taken as a case study. So the first one is Dhirubhai Ambani. I consider, this is my personal view, people may have very different view about Dhirubhai Ambani, but I personally feel he's one of the greatest entrepreneurs in the Indian history. I have never seen anybody greater than him. This is again, I am repeating, this is my personal view. Now, there are very few entrepreneurs who in their life span becomes an aura, becomes a kind of brand in itself. Dhirubhai Ambani is one of those people who became a brand in his lifespan. There used to be a time when the budget used to depend on what kind of policies Dhirubhai Ambani wished to implement for, so that it suits his business. So the architect of Indian capital market, he basically made it possible for a common Indian person to reach to the capital market, which always used to be an elite place, elite people place. He was champion of shareholders' interest. He built, starting from probable scratch, to the India's largest private sector enterprise. Now, I heard that many of the people are chartered accountant in the audience. So there is a concept called MAT, minimum alternative tax. So this concept of MAT was introduced just because for good 22 years, Dhirubhai Ambani did not pay a single rupee of tax. Because of unabsorbed losses, he was able to skip out of the tax next. And because of his innovative ideas in regard to these negative things, government was compelled to bring the concept called minimum alternative tax. This I consider as a very innovative entrepreneur. So the next entrepreneur which I have covered here is Shiv Nadar. So people generally think that IBM is the inventor of computer, whereas Shiv Nadar, who was from an Indian, who was from India, nearly built a computer at the same time when the IBM built it. And the level of resources which were available to IBM and the level of resources and infrastructure which were available to Shiv Nadar was way different. So I consider him as one of the greatest entrepreneurs who started with a product and then kept on growing in the service area. Today, the product segment is not that large segment, although they are still in the product segment. But then they ventured from product to the service area, and then they have done humongously good in the service area, the way they did good in the product area. So that's why I consider this person, Shiv Nadar. I was fortunate to work 7 years with HCL Technologies, and I have seen the kind of innovations, the kind of new skill development which happens at the HCL Technologies. The another thing which I feel very proud about Shiv Nadar, and that's why I consider him as one of the greatest entrepreneurs, is the way he introduced management by skilled people rather than by the entrepreneur itself. So for last about 30 years, we have seen that the CEO of HCL Technologies is not Shiv Nadar, is not Roshni Nadar. It is the employee who are hired at the very beginning stage, who are hired from the campus, and then they grew in the organization up to the CEO level. The last 3 CEOs, I worked personally with all the 3 CEOs, Vineet Nair, Anand Gupta, and the C. Vijay Kumar, who is the current CEO. I worked personally with all 3 of them. And they were hired from the campus, right from either their engineering background or their MBA background. And they grew up to the level of the CEO of the organization, such a large organization. And this is one of the skills which I have seen very rare in other organizations. That's why I consider Shiv Nadar as one of the greatest entrepreneurs. Now let's go to the next notable entrepreneur, which is Mr. Narayan Murthy. Just like Shiv Nadar, Mr. Narayan Murthy nearly at the same time set up the Infosys. But they did not venture into the product segment, and they remained focused on the service segment. They remained focused on the software development and software maintenance kind of things. So again, Narayan Murthy started it from the very scratch. He started it very, very little capital, and they were able to create a lot of wealth. Out of the top 5 IT companies which are there in the country, Infosys is the one which have never compromised with its margin. So the gross margin, when I used to work with SCL Technologies, used to be in the range of about 30 to 40%, whereas Infosys never used to bid for any deal which has less than 50% gross margin. So that's the kind of wealth creation for not for himself, but for the entire organization that Mr. Narayan Murthy was able to create, and that's why I consider him as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of India. Now let us see who is the next notable entrepreneur. It is Ritesh Agrawal, who set up OYO. Now OYO is completely a new idea which was invented with his sufferings when he used to come from his hometown to larger cities. He used to struggle a lot in order to find a economic place to stay at. With that kind of vision, he started OYO, and I'm sure you people are aware that OYO has larger operation in China or in other part of the world than in India. That's the way he created the organization. That's the way he created the entrepreneurship. So I consider Ritesh Agrawal as one of the greatest entrepreneur, because he started from just a fellowship which he received of $100,000 of grant money. With that kind of level, there was a time when OYO had a net worth of I'm talking about the company, not as individual net worth, having a net worth and the market capitalization of over $5 billion. So creating a venture at such a small age is taught by Ritesh Agrawal to Indian startup owners or Indian entrepreneurs. The next is Bhavish Agrawal. So he's my competitor in the electric vehicle, and in the I do not consider him a greatest entrepreneur insofar as the Ola Electric is concerned. But then the Ola cab is something which is phenomenal. Although he's a copycat entrepreneur, he copied the idea from Uber and other such services, but then he implemented it so well that the online booking cab, it becomes a synonyms of online booking cab. Ola becomes a synonyms for online booking cabs. So again, he started it at a very early age, and then was able to set up it at a very early stage. He is still young and inventing in a lot of new things. His AI company is already a billionaire company, and in the 2024 itself, his AI company became $1 billion company at a very early stage. Next is Azim Premji. Now, Azim Premji, most of the people do not give him the kind of respect, regard which he must be getting. So why he is so greatest is, although he is not the first generation, he was the third generation entrepreneur. But then from, say, rice mill, or from making rice oils, or those kind of segment, soaps and other segment, he ventured into IT, which is completely different venture. And then Wipro used to be the third largest IT company for a good more than 10 years of time. So I consider Azim Premji as one of the greatest entrepreneurs. Now the next entrepreneur is Siddharth Lal. Why he is considered as one of the greatest entrepreneur, although he was not the first generation, he was the third generation entrepreneur. But then he picked up Royal Enfield from a time when it was about to get shut down, And today it is one of the greatest brand of the country. They sell more than 9 lakh units in a year, whereas they came to a stage wherein they used to sell 25,000 vehicles in a year. So picking up a company, beating the competition of say 100cc or 125cc Hero, Honda kind of companies, and then setting up a product which is not a product but a lifestyle experience is something which is taught by Siddharth Lal. So I consider this gentleman as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of the country. Now let us see another entrepreneur, which is Anil Agrawal. He is from a very humble background. His father used to be a small aluminum conductor business person. So he skipped his graduation in order to set up his venture, moved from Patna to Mumbai, and then he set up such a large organization called Vedanta. So in his life span of 30-40 years, he became a brand in himself and created a very large organization from zero. So I consider him another very good entrepreneur. He was not a first generation entrepreneur, he was a second generation entrepreneur, but then set up something which was beyond the thinking for a person of his status. Now, these are some of the other entrepreneurs that I have covered for various reasons. So Ratan Tata, you might be expecting him to appear on the initial slides, but I do not consider him, although I worked with him for 6 years, met him thrice, but then I do not consider him as one of those greatest entrepreneurs, because setting up an organization from 60,000 crores to say 6 lakh crores or say 60 lakh crore is not a big task. What is an entrepreneur is to setting up that organization from 0 to 100 crore is what made an entrepreneur the greatest of the entrepreneurs. Again, Mukesh Ambani did the same thing which Ratan Tata did to the Tata organization. Mukesh Ambani did it for the Reliance organization. Anil Ambani is captured here for some different reason, because when they two were separated, when the division happened, both of them got the similar kind of wealth. One multiplied it, the other kind of become a bankrupt at this stage. Although the two segments which were given to Anil Ambani, one is the telecom, was the segment which was very near to Mukesh Ambani, but they made an agreement that for 10 years Mukesh Ambani will not enter into the telecom segment. Mukesh Ambani did his preparation. He kept preparing for Jio, and the moment that 10 years period is over, he launched the Jio. And then today we all know Jio is one of the largest success of the world. Now, Mr. Mallya is captured here for a different reason. He got a large setup. He invented a lot of new ideas. He implemented them, but then because of his wrong practices, he basically became a bankrupt today, and have lost whatever he got in from his parents or what he created. Now, Mr. Adani is captured here for a different reason, although he created an organization at a smaller period as compared to some of the entrepreneurs that I have captured in my previous slide. But then people have different ideas about the practices that he follow, about the links that he have, political links and other things. So I have not considered him in my previous slide in a separate slide, because I consider that if you are a controversial entrepreneur, although you are able to create wealth, then you do not get a space. This is again, I am repeating, this is again my personal view. People may have a different view. Now, why Kodak is captured here? Kodak is not an entrepreneur, but an organization. But Kodak is captured here for a different idea, because they refused to adopt a new technology. And from the world's largest organization or one of the greatest organization, they are nowhere today. And same is the fate of Nokia. There used to be a time when at certain portion of the country, I'm talking about India only, Nokia used to have 94, 96% market share. Now today their market share is less than 1% or less than 4% at most of the part of the country. Because why? Because they refuse to adopt the new technology, they refuse to adopt the new processes, new systems, and the likings of the people, and understanding the likings of the people. Now, these are the various stages of entrepreneurs: first generation, next generation. Now, within the next generation, there are people who bought diversification. So, in my example, where I covered, Ajim Premji bought diversification, whereas Siddharth Lal went for expansion, creating a brand, creating a lifestyle experience. So within the next generation entrepreneur also, there are different skills. Using those skills, those people have gone either in the diversification and growing humongously there, or gone for a expansion within the same field which they got from their parents. Now, these are the various things which are required for to become an entrepreneur or to set up an entrepreneurship: idea generation, opportunity analysis, develop planning, collecting resources, forming organization, growing business, and then the entrepreneur process get completed with all these kind of things. I will not cover it in detail for the lack of time. Now, these are the basics of debt fundraising. These are some of the considerations which one should consider while going for debt fundraising. The topic is large. I may not be able to cover it in 4 or 5 minutes, but then these are some of the things. You can use a crowdfunding platform. You can, the terminologies that you must be aware are the loan terms, the investor due diligence, the risk mitigation, how you are mitigating your risk, communication and transparency, legal and regulatory considerations, and the post-fundraising responsibilities are some of the considerations for the debt fundraising. And these are the funding stages of a startup. Pre-seed funding, these values are just symbolic. Please do not consider these values as synchronous. The values may change. Pre-seed funding, then the seed funding, Series A, B, C, D, and then keep on going until you reach to the stage of IPO. And that's the ultimate stage. IPO could be SME IPO or could be main board IPO. It depends on your revenues, on your profitability, on your vision as to what kind of IPO you wish to go for. Now, the equity funding and lots of consideration. For the lack of time, I'm not able to cover it here. Maybe if Shivani ji want me to take a separate session for that, I would be very happy to take a separate session for that. Now, with that, I take a pause, and then whatever questions people may have, I would be very happy to try answer those kind of questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Definitely, many things were new. Still, we all know a lot of things. Still, a lot of new learnings were there. You can cover if you want a bit more about equity raising stages and fundraising things.
So what I generally cover when I have been
The
going
previous
through
slides.
yes, sure. I'll go to the slide. So I generally cover a few things when I go to management institution as a guest lecture. So the young people ask me as to what are those considerations one should go for equity as compared to the debt raising. So I would like to cover those things here. So one is that what is your vision for the organization? In case you want to wish to create an organization for your generations, please do not go for early stage of fundraising, because then you will lose the control, then you will not get the right pricing of it. In case you wish to, your target is to create some idea into a reality and then go out of it by making money, you should go for early stage of fundraising, maybe pre-seed funding or a seed funding, series A, B, C, D, whatever you wish to go for. But if you wish to create an organization for your generations, then please do not go for early stage of equity fundraising. Go for debt fundraising. Why? Because you will not get the right pricing, first of all. Second, the valuation may not be the right, or the negotiation, you are not in a position to negotiate the investor, and you tend to lose much for very less. So that is one of the things which one must consider as to what is your vision. If your vision is to make money and come out of it, please go for early stage of fundraising through equity. But if your vision is to create an organization for generation, please do not go for fundraising at an early stage. Now, the second consideration is what is the right valuation. This is something which I may not have the right skill to talk about, but then I try to answer this question. See, a right valuation is one valuation where both the sides, the receiver side and the giver side, or the investor side and the investee side, are happy to shake hands with. There is no right valuation at all. Right valuation is the one where both the sides are happy to shake hands with. At times it happens that people think that they have lost a lot of equity at a small price, but then they should consider that at that point in time, what was their need? Were they struggling to even survival of the organization? And if it was a time like that wherein they were struggling to even survival of the organization, I don't think any valuation, any pricing is a wrong pricing. Because if you do not go for fundraising at that point in time, you will lose even what part you are having as of today. So the valuation has no set criteria. So I always tell that the right valuation is a valuation when both of the parties are happy, when both of the parties are good to shake hands. I tell you one thing, in my previous EV organization, which is eAshwa Automotive, I ran it for 5 years. I am the founder of that. I left it for certain reasons. So there was a time in 2021 when there was few investors who were willing to invest at a valuation of 600 crore rupees. And I was adamant that I will not go for the dilution below 1,000 crore rupees of valuation. And in 2022, we have seen a phase wherein we were struggling to get a valuation of even 100 crore rupees for that. So that's why I always say that right valuation is dependent on the time. Do not go for very high valuation. You see what is your need, and if the valuation of that time is suitable to your need, please go for it. So that's the another aspect which I teach in the management schools. And the another aspect here is whether one should go. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Hirani, you want to say something?
I think he got unmuted.
Yeah, sure. So the third aspect is whether one should go for equity at all or not, and at what stage one should go for equity is primarily at a stage when you have a steady state operation, when you are not in dire need of money. When you want to go for expansion, when you want to go for next phase of expansion or next phase of development, you go for the equity funding. Otherwise, settle it with the debt funding if that suits your organization need. So these are the three aspects I generally tell the people. And these terminologies are just the terminologies. Otherwise, the consideration remains these three aspects in all of these stages.
Thank you, sir. We would definitely love to hear your story, how you created Sampoorna EV.
Okay, sure. So, I worked for about 22 years with various Indian as well as multinational organizations. And then came a time when I found that it is not, I am not, means my time is not getting utilized in the best way. I was the CFO of one of the Tata organization, but I was not getting that kind of kick which I was looking for, and hence I decided to quit the organization from a high-paid, very Tata is one of the organization, one of the employer which used to be considered as one of the best employers in the country. But then I decided not to pursue it further and decided to set up my own venture, and that's how the virtual group came into the picture, wherein we provide lots of accounting, compliance, and a lot of services which a chartered accountant provide in a corporate manner, in a corporate structure, rather than doing it in a CA firm. My CA firm generate revenue only what I sign or what I put my stamp on. Otherwise, 95% of my revenue comes into the corporate entities which I have created for under the virtual group umbrella entity. So then one of my client wanted to have some entity with me. He kept on pursuing lots of ideas with me. I used to puncture all those ideas because I thought I am not made for those kind of things. But then electric vehicle was one of those ideas which I was not able to puncture it at that point in time. And that's how I created in 2017 my first EV company called eAshv Automotive Private Limited. Ashv is the Sanskrit word for horse. So we created this organization. Initially, I was very reluctant, but slowly and steadily, I started enjoying it. And today I enjoy EV more than what I enjoy my chartered accountancy related activities. So eAshv, we grew from zero to about 150 crores of revenues in the last 2 years of my tenure, which I ran as a CEO of the organization, as a MD of the organization. And then there came a time when there was a dispute between me and my fellow partners, and I decided to quit. I'm still a 25% shareholder of that organization, but I'm an emotional person, so I quit it in one single moment, and then I set up this venture called Sampoorna EV. So eAshwa was a OEM, which is original equipment manufacturer, wherein we were having approvals in our own name, lots of models, lots of categories of vehicles. Whereas when I set up Sampoorna EV, I had two choices. One choice was to set up similar to what I set up 5 years back, or to set up something new, and I decided to set up something new, and that's how the Sampoorna EV came into the picture. Sampoorna EV is not an OEM. Our tagline is brand agnostic EV ecosystem. So we found that in the electric vehicle market, particularly the low speed electric two-wheeler market, brand is not important. What is important is creating the value, because these products are value for money product, wherein the user is buying them not for any other reason, not for technology, not for love for the environment, but only because his pocket, because he's not happy spending 100 rupees for his daily commuting. So, and hence we decided that we will not go for a brand, because brand has no premium which will be given by the market. And hence we decided to set up an ecosystem company. Now, what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is basically an environment within which an industry works. And in the similar fashion, EV industry, all industries have their own ecosystem. In the similar fashion, EV industry has its ecosystem, which has 9 pillars on which the base of the EV industry is situated. And we work on all the 9 pillars of that EV ecosystem. And we are the only company, may it be government or private organization, which works on all the 9 pillars of the EV ecosystem. The target is to become an aggregator at all the 9 pillars of the EV ecosystem. Now, what is aggregator? Aggregator is basically the one who takes the advantage, who basically owns the entire market, who runs parallel to the industry, and takes the advantage of the high volume of purchase and distributing it to the other players, so that the benefit pass on to all the other players of the organization. In the EV industry, particularly in the low speed electric two-wheeler industry, there are more than 2,000 players, and all of them are highly unorganized players who are not having those kind of resources which an entrepreneur must be having. Now, we have created Sampoorna EV in order to make them sustain and in order to make them live. That's how the Sampoorna EV is shaping up. Our dream is to sell 100% of the EV two-wheeler in the market. So if currently there are about 7 lakh two-wheelers which are sold in Indian market in a month, we wish to sell all those 7 lakh vehicles from the Sampoorna EV platform. We have launched our application. We are the only company in the country which has, in the automobile segment, which has its own application, end-to-end integrated application. And the platform is ready. In a slow and steady manner, we are driving towards our vision which we have created for the organization.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you for sharing the story of your startup and growing it to a listed company. So the floor is open for audience to ask their questions. You can ask your questions from Vikasji. Check the chat boxes. There is something.
Anything which is related to what I have presented, or maybe even there is something related question in your mind, please do ask. I'll try to answer it whatever I am able to.
Vikasji, as you said, Tata, Ratan Tata, and Mukesh Ambani, they already had the business and they grew. So you don't consider them as a great entrepreneur. But sometimes I think most of the people they are not able to grow what their father has given them or what they got in inheritance. And they really fail. Not only Anil Ambani, there are many people who are not able to behold that thing. So
Sir,
I think
you are
even that is
absolutely
great.
right. So in the beginning itself, I said this is my personal view. People may have different view, and I do
Yeah,
not,
yes,
I
yes.
do not debate that their view is wrong or my view is right. I totally agree and accept the views of all the people. You have rightly said. So when I was mentioning Ratan Tata and Mukesh Ambani, I mentioned that people might be expecting those people appearing in the previous slides. But why I have not captured is because of this reason that they have not created it from zero. They
Yeah.
got up 50,000, 60,000 crores of empire. Now, taking that empire from 50,000, 60,000 crore to say 5 lakh, 6 lakh, 10 lakh, 30 lakh, 12, 40 lakh crores is not a big job. Why I am saying is because I have set up an organization from 0 to 150 crores and I know what it takes to set up an organization from the zero level, from the zero capital to 150 crores of level. It takes really blood and sweat of yours in order to take organization from zero to that level. And once you reach to that level, you are able to hire people who can work together with you and can take the organization to the next level. So
Right.
I have worked when I was part of the Tata organization. I was our chairman was Mr. Annadurai, who used to be the pioneer and the wizard of TCS. So there used to be a time when TCS used to be from position 1 to position 10, and then the next company used to come at position 11. Now, having worked with that kind of person, I know that they were. Do you think they need any direction from Mr. Tata? They definitely need a vision from Mr. Tata, but they are able to drive the entire organization to the scale that they were able to take it.
Right.
So the current chairman of Tata Group is also from TCS. So he was coached and guided by Mr. Annadurai, Mr. Chandrasekaran. He was coached and guided by Mr. Annadurai. So this is the kind of able leadership the Tata organization was having when Mr. Ratan Tata took over the organization
Yes.
from his last generation.
Right. That is true.
Any other questions?
Sir, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
When in such a family, there are 2 or 3 sons and all this, and they have to break. Like Mukesh and Anil got, separated. Now, Mukesh grown like anything, but there are times when they have to divide their business in 3, 4 parts, and the business goes down. How can it be done? How can they seal it that everybody get the what is they supposed to get, but the business goes on?
Sir, I consider Dhirubhai Ambani as visionary entrepreneur, but not a smart entrepreneur because of this reason only. Now you see, Mukesh Ambani has divided his business into his family during his lifetime today itself. So there is no dispute which is going to happen after
Later.
the death of Mukesh Ambani. Whereas Dhirubhai Ambani kept the entire hold until he died. And then after his death, his wife has to come into the picture in order to divide the business. There was a time when both the brothers were fighting like cat and dog, and they were struggling to get the business share of their liking. So Dhirubhai was no doubtly a visionary entrepreneur, but he was not a smart entrepreneur. Mukesh Ambani is a smart entrepreneur. He has done that thing which his father was not able to do that.
Good. Thank you.
So Atulji, you can go ahead.
जी अतुल जी आप म्यूट पे हैं शायद.
हेलो. Yeah,
Yes,
you're
Atulji.
very interesting and encouraging. I would like to understand few things in this world of the VUCA, and the lots of war is going on everywhere, and the disruptive things is happening, and the AI things, everything, nothing is so settled. In this situation, what do you think is a right industry to embark on?
So, sir, it is very difficult question. Even me and lots of people like me are struggling to understand this situation. AI has disrupted a lot of things. So even the communication, the lowest part of it, I tell you, when I used to communicate with people, I used to found them struggling in the communication. Now with the AI chat GPT, people make so decent communication with no time that this is the lowest thing which people used to think. I used to think that my parents taught me good things and I'm able to communicate, I'm able to understand. But now today the education doesn't matter at all. So there are certain skills which you can develop in no time with the use of technology. And hence, I take you an example of IT. So in India, the IT captures nearly 65% of the total service segment export and the business part of it. But coding is gonna be obsolete. Now people would not be required for the coding. Assume there are at least 50 lakh people who are engaged in this activity of coding. This is the lowest number I am talking about. It could be in crores as well. So the people who used to code for developing or maintaining the software, they will get obsolete because machine will do this job in less time at less efforts with high proficiency. So the uncertainty is gonna happen, but it is said in our Sanatan कि जब अंधेरा ज्यादा होगा तो उजाला होने की तरफ जाएगा वो ही मतलब that is my view that this uncertainty will definitely lead to a glory of its time, and it is the right time for India to basically shine and come out of it. Baki Atul ji, ज़्यादा in detail, I'm not sure of it. Sorry, but I have the similar kind of market expertise as you might be having, so not able to answer this question with much detail.
Any industry you prefer that it could have some challenge? Okay, the challenges you have already we both have mentioned at the same time. But what about these things? Any silver lining in any of the industry? Maybe this warfare industry may shine at least for a few more years.
So my wife works with Bharat Electronics Limited, which basically makes weapons, radars, electronic voting machines, and those kind of things for the Indian government. Now the industries like Bharat Electronics are growing like anything, are shining like anything for last few years. So I assume that those kind of industries which use technology for both war as well as for peace would be the shining industries for future.
Atulji, you want to add on something?
No, just thanks. The thing is that Vikas should be grateful to his parent also, because they have given him the name Vikas, and that's what he is always in the progressive thought.
Thank you so much, Atulji.
So thank you, Vikashji, for all your deliberation and knowledge sharing.
Thank you, Shivani, and all for peaceful and patient hearing of me, and for giving me this opportunity to deliver.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to our audience also for, yes, anyone wants to say something?
Yeah, can we have...
was very different, Shivani?
Hanji, sir?
Today's topic was very different. something, we got great knowledge about this entrepreneurship,
Right. Right.
Can you contact number?
Yes.
Can we have contact number of Vikas ji?
You can
Yeah, why not?
connect to me.
Yeah, Shivani ji can give my contact.
Yeah, I'll share.
And
You can
Shivani
ping
ji,
me on WhatsApp. I'll
if you feel
share.
right, please give the PPT also. People
Yes,
may want
yes.
to see it at their ease.
Right, sir. Thank you everyone for joining in today. If you have something to say, you can before we close. Okay.
Thank you.
So no more questions. Thank you everyone for joining in today. Look forward for another session next Saturday. And thank you, Vikas ji, for all your deliberations.
Thank you so much.
It was really totally, as Hirani sir rightly said, it was totally a different topic that we bring in today.
when we bring
And
this.
definitely a lot of new learnings.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a blessed weekend.